So you write a poem about Library Hill instead of running down it. This is it when I was a kid. I'd take my runner sled and I'd come down this thing. And it's been, oh my God, years. This is Library Hill. And right across from it is the fort on the other side of the hill. So I'd come down here in my sled and I would spark. I was always having fun on this thing. I took a trip to Ligonier today just to see. They said Santa was coming in, and I wanted to kind of rude if I didn't welcome him. You know, I'm the Laurel Highlands author here, or a Laurel Highlands author, I should say. And when jolly old Saint Nick makes his way here, you know, it should mean something. I used to live right down the street here. You'd make a left and go up on the hill. Fort Ligonier is a fort from the French and Indian War, 1858. The French had Pittsburgh, and the British, Washington, came with the one general from England, and came with Forbes the second time, and they built these forts every so many miles, and they would fall back on if they needed to. That is Library Hill, infamous in my poetry. This area of Fort Ligonier is pretty interesting. You can actually see in one of the few spots, you can see how the fort was made, how the actual creation of the battlements are. Here, ground mounted up gives you the higher ground. The whole way that it was stockaded with a few cannons from the time period. I imagine these are recreations, but you can get a good feel for it, seeing that cannon over there and seeing what it's all about. Gives you a good look, a good idea of the history of this area. I grew up right up here. On East Little Hannah Street, and it's been maybe a few years since I've been here. I wanted to take a nice trip up here. This was my childhood. Very few people grew up around a French and Indian fort with bagpipes and battlements and you name it. I had that as a backdrop for my life. And you can see, of course, the fort is very vast. There was a bagpiper in the hill off the valley below us that would play and practice his bagpipes. And I grew up listening to that. And to this day, I love every bit of it. Lived right up here. East Little Hannah Street on Graham Street, and I am Clan Graham. As you can tell by the tartan where I can wear Clan Graham or Royal Stewart, I prefer Clan Graham, so I'm right near the junction of Graham Street. It's the hill down by Library Hill. I used to live right up here, and I grew up that. I always like the alleys because it's getting away from all the craziness of the people. And this is where I'd be on my little runner sled. My mom would be pulling me around. And that little barn is still there. That's crazy. I'll give you a little taste of rural Ligonier. Grew up when I was a kid, and it hasn't changed at all. I think some people put on some metal roofs and did a few other things, but this was me going for walks up to the Diamond to see everybody. The stray cats all along this alley. I was friends with every one of them. I'm sure the one walking up towards me at the moment is great 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 grandkid of the kitty I knew. But this is Ligonier. All these nice old houses. You can get a feel for it. History. Walk out towards the diamond, you get the older buildings that are stone and sculpted differently. Some of this is just coming back near Library Hill. Some of this just takes me back. It always reminded me of the Popeye movie, that little town in Popeye, where some of these buildings were so old and just characterized by just the wooden stucco siding and everything. This is my childhood. This is where I learned how to write. This is where I learned how to look up and dream a little bit at some of these things, and pulled that runner sled and just carried on. There's a cat. See a cat down there? It's running away right there. Cat. I know that cat. Yeah. There used to always be this cat that used to be at the junction in the alley here. This is funny because this is it. And we'd be coming back from the grocery store because we'd have to walk down. And I was a little kid, and I'd always stop in the middle of the alley, and there were like 3 cats that would stand there and stare at me. And I like they knew me or something, you know. Look in there.